What does slimed out mean? It means getting tricked, set up, or betrayed, especially by someone you trusted or thought was on your side.
So, in the stuff you sent over, there was this one phrase that really jumped out. The worry about getting, and I'm quoting here, slimed out by AI.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, it kind of perfectly sums up this underlying anxiety that I think a lot of people are feeling right now, right? With all this crazy progress in AI and, the whole, how's it going to affect my job, my life even,
Exactly.
But we're going to dive deep into that today, Explore that concern, really unpack what's behind it. And full disclosure right off the bat, there are no easy answers here. We don't have a crystal ball.
Right.
But let's see if we can get some clarity on, what's fueling this whole feeling,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that image, right, of being slimed out, it's pretty vivid.
Yeah.
And I think it really points to this core fear a lot of us have, especially with AI evolving so rapidly across all these industries and taking on more and more roles, even in jobs. It can be unsettling, you know? But I think what's important to remember, right from the get-go is that the way AI is impacting things, it's not usually some intentional attack. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's more about these bigger technological and economic shifts that are kind of happening all around us.
Okay, yeah, and the stuff you sent in, it really emphasizes that, right? That these shifts are often systemic. They're just kind of happening whether we like it or not. So then okay, what are the big things that'll determine if someone ends up, experiencing those negative consequences you mentioned?
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to, your specific field, right?
Right.
And the kind of work you do.
Okay.
The text points out that certain sectors, where a lot of the tasks are routine or involve tons of data processing, those are the ones, at least right now, that are feeling the effects of automation more immediately. Think about all those self-checkout kiosks that have popped up, right?
Yeah, that's a great example. Retail has been transformed.
Yeah.
But reading through the sources, there's also this emphasis on roles that need creativity, like complex problem solving, that emotional intelligence stuff.
Right.
The things that are really uniquely human.
Yeah.
Even things that need intricate manual dexterity. Those are less vulnerable right now to being totally taken over by AI.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Think of a skilled artisan, you know?
Yeah.
Or a negotiator who's got to navigate these really complex human dynamics. Those roles, they still need that human touch, that nuance.
Exactly. And that actually brings us to a really crucial point. Adaptability. How quickly individuals, but also entire industries, can evolve to integrate AI, really effectively. And the trend that seems to be emerging is less about replacing people altogether and more about this idea of human AI collaboration, where each one kind of augments the other's strengths.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not necessarily a battle between humans and AI. It's more about finding that synergy, finding where our skills and what AI can do work together.
Yeah.
I like that. And the materials you provided also highlight this, this idea that the choices made by companies, by society as a whole, about how they implement AI, that's going to have a huge effect on the outcomes, right?
Absolutely. I mean, thinking about things like ethical considerations,
Right.
and developing AI tools that are intentionally designed to work with people, not just replace them. That stuff is super crucial.
For sure. And it's interesting that the stuff you sent over, it doesn't just lay out the problem,
Right.
It actually emphasizes that there are proactive steps that you, the listener, can take, even in the face of all these big changes.
Exactly.
So what concrete actions can someone listening right now take?
Well, a key takeaway here, I think, is to start thinking of AI as another tool in your skill set, you know? Not something to be afraid of, but something to learn and to use. Just take a minute and think. What's one AI-related skill, even just one, that you could realistically start exploring next month? That kind of proactive step, it's so much more powerful than just knowing you need to learn, you know?
Yeah, get specific.
Yeah. And the sources really push this idea of shifting your perspective, Instead of asking, will AI replace me? Start asking, how is AI going to reshape my field?
Oh, that is a much better question. I mean, it's empowering, right?
It is.
It takes you out of that passive fear mode, and it puts you in a place where you're okay, I can I can engage with this,
Absolutely.
I really like that.
Yeah.
And there were some other good questions that were highlighted in the material you sent. Like, what skills are going to be the most valuable alongside AI?
Yeah, great one.
How can I actually learn to use these AI tools effectively?
Yep.
And then my favorite, what are the uniquely human strengths that I have that AI just can't replicate?
Those are the key questions, yeah. And, while we can't predict the future with, like, 100% certainty, what's clear from everything you shared is that the outcome isn't set in stone, right? It's not predetermined.
Okay.
Your willingness to learn, your ability to adapt, and your focus on those distinctly human capabilities, that's what's going to shape your experience,
It puts you in the driver's seat in a way, right?
Exactly. You have agency here. And there's this other really interesting point that the sources touch on, which is that helping other people understand AI, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Oh, that's a good point.
It could actually, make you a valuable resource, like position you as someone who's really knowledgeable in this rapidly evolving field.
Yeah, and almost everyone's feeling that anxiety about AI, right?
Yeah.
So being the one who's like, hey, I've dug into this, I've learned something about it, I could help you understand it too. That's powerful.
Absolutely.
And it kind of reinforces this idea that staying informed, staying proactive, it's not just about like protecting yourself,
Right.
It's also about potentially finding new opportunities within this whole changing landscape. So to sum it all up, that initial feeling of anxiety, that being slimed out by AI feeling, yeah, it makes sense, it's understandable. But the core message I'm getting from everything you shared is that proactive engagement, and the ability to adapt. Those are the most important things as we move into the future.
I think that's a great summary. And just a final thought for you to consider as we wrap up. Take a minute to reflect on the unique human skills you use every single day in your work, in your life. How might those skills evolve? How could they be, like, amplified even by working with AI in the years to come?
Really good food for thought. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me. It was a good one.
It was fun.